Welcome to the Fuzzy Mike, the interview series, the podcast, whatever Kevin wants to call it. It's Fuzzy Mike.
Well, this coming up Friday, May 29th, it is the final installment of the Outdoor Channel's live stream concert series. We've already spoken to and seen performances by Jordan Davis, Haley Hammock, Ingrid Andress, and closing out the series is my guest now on the Fuzzy Mike, Nashville recording artist Brandon Lay.
Hello?
Hello, is this Brandon?
Yes, what's happening?
Brandon Lay, it's Kevin Klein. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good.
Were those birds in the
Y'all
background?
been staying safe?
Oh, yeah, we're staying. You
Yeah,
know
are they
what?
too loud? Do I need to go back inside?
No, absolutely not. It was great because the other day I was talking with Jordan Davis, and the quality of this connection is so good that I could hear him casting his rod and reel. He was on a boat in a lake, and then the other day also I was talking with Ingrid Andress, and she was outside and she had birds singing and chirping. This is perfect, bro. I love this. This is real,
All right, good deal.
Yeah. So you were asking how things are.
No doubt about that.
COVID-19 really it's affected our industry, the radio industry, because most of us are broadcasting from home. But other than that, I mean, I was a hermit before hermit became cool. So,
I'm with you on that, brother. I feel like I've been training for COVID my whole life. So it's crazy because doing what we do, you would assume an extrovert, but I guess I have such a kind of an extreme personality when I'm off the road or not doing radio events. I just love being outside in the country. That's how I recharge. So I totally get it, brother.
well, and you've got three great reasons to be kind of at home. You've got two children now and a beautiful wife.
Well, I've got one little boy and
What?
one that it could be today. Nicole she's thinking it could be this week. Anytime she's laying in there right now in pain. So
Oh,
we're expecting a little girl. So we're excited around here.
you are going to have the all-American family, Brandon Lay.
Yeah, I think we might be done after this. We're blessed. One of each, and that might be a wrap.
Yeah, so are you playing the Grand Ole Opry anytime soon? Because I know when Ryder came along, you were a couple hours away from playing that, right?
That's correct. Yeah, that was my first time on it when the weekend he was born.
This is crazy. You and I just jumped right into the conversation. It's like we've known each other for years, but in researching you, I knew that this was going to be a great chat and we were going to have a lot of fun because you're a laid back guy, but you're also kind of an open book with your locker room chats and all that stuff. So yeah, this is so cool to me. You're going to
Yeah,
be on
thank you.
Outdoor. Yeah, no, hey, you're going to be on Outdoor Channel live stream this coming up Friday evening, and you just had a new song come out, which is For My Money. Brilliant tune, bro. That is such a good tune.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's quirky. It's something different. Yeah, it's just for fun, man. I'm glad people are responding to it the way they are.
So before I went and looked up anything about Brandon Lay, I listened to the music first. And the first thing that struck me about For My Money was in the chorus, the drum beat is almost like Tusk from Fleetwood Mac. And I'm like, I wonder if he's a Fleetwood Mac
That's
guy.
interesting.
You are a Fleetwood
Huh?
Mac fan.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. That's interesting. Yeah, that's Mikey Reese produced that, and Andrew DeRoberts. I co-wrote it with Andrew, and that work. The demo that we did the night that we wrote it, I would say it's 85% what the final track ended up being. Just because it kind of has that Ocean's 11 kind of slap back guitar. It's very cinematic in a way. So that's interesting. You would pick up on that because I love Fleetwood Mac and the Eagles, and that's my jam.
Well, I want to get to the Eagles in a little bit, but also I want to talk about Still Rock and Roll, which is another one of your tunes. And I listened to that before I did any investigating on the life and times of Brandon Lay. And to me, the opening guitar riff sounds a little like Def Leppard.
Yeah, you got me just figured out, don't you?
And this was seriously, bro, this was just based on the music that I was hearing. And then I went in and I read, and I'm like, well, okay, it makes total sense that he's a Def
You were
Leppard
right.
fan.
You
Yeah.
nailed that. Yeah, I was listening to the Hysteria album a lot when I wrote that, and that the nostalgia of that. I don't know. It kind of took on the mood of Hysteria, which I think is one of the most brilliant recordings ever. I'm a huge Mutt Lange fan, and I'm a big '80s rock fan, and just kind of the drama that goes with those type of songs was something I wanted for my live show, and so I convinced the label to let me put that one out. And because we're touring so hard without a lot of music out, and I feel like that's kind of one of the reasons I started doing that locker room talk, because I just feel a little misunderstood. I mean, I know it's the platform that we're on. We're really working that one single to break through. But as a new artist, I've got, I'm pretty ADD, so I'm all over. I've got a lot of layers to me, and so that was just one of the colors that I was glad to show.
You talk about building an audience through touring. You've been on the road with Dierks Bentley, Cole Swindell, Eli Young Band. You've played with Hank Williams Jr., Brantley Gilbert, and you also, your favorite show ever was in my hometown of St. Louis at Busch Stadium with Kenny Chesney. How has
Yeah.
touring with all of those folks, how has it bettered your game, or what have you learned from those individuals?
Getting out of my own head is, I, I guess it's the songwriter in me. I mean, sometimes you can just psych yourself out, and it's a lot like competing in sports, But one of the things I learned to Kenny was Kenny just gives. When he's on stage, he gives, and I think naturally I didn't want to screw up. First time I ever played a stadium, down in Tampa, Florida, Raymond James Stadium, I was nervous as hell, and it's like you try to look cool and sound your best, and I mean, by about the third weekend, I, was just going out there and really interacting with the fans more instead of just kind of going through the motions, because I was so worried about not screwing up. I kind of let that go and kind of, tried to perform in the moment, which is a really tough thing to do.
Yet, Brandon Lay, you said in an interview before that your favorite venue to play is a large stadium as opposed to an intimate venue. What's the difference between the two? Obviously, crowd size, but
Yeah, energy.
uh,
I mean, yeah, I mean, just playing in a stadium. I like the stadiums. Yeah, that's my vibe because I love Marshall stacks and huge PAs, and I'm a. You can ask anybody that knows me, my band. They always give me a hard time because we bought this $4,000 haze machine that when we're playing clubs and stuff. Like I'm a haze guru. Like I'm kind of a smoke machine snob, but I just love the the production aspect of playing somewhere really large when it comes together with the music. It's a really powerful thing.
and so you mentioned earlier with Def Leppard that you're a Mutt Lang fan. Now you're talking about Marshall Stacks. You have to be an AC/DC fan then.
Yes, yes. Back in Black. I mean, yeah, of course, that's a given.
Yeah, you and I are probably grew up on the same stuff because I know that you like Collective Soul and Guns N' Roses, and that was stuff that I was listening to when I was first starting my radio career out. So, what is the quintessential Guns N' Roses song for you?
Oh, that's interesting. Um, Welcome to the Jungle, just because of the intro.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm being honest, yeah, I know that's not a deep cut or anything, but yeah, I just gung, 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 gung. I mean, that just never gets old.
No, but Brandon, I like that about you is that you just said, I know it's not a deep cut. You don't have to be a music snob to say that, what, I like their first single.
Exactly.
You know, I've always
Yep.
found that interesting that
Exactly.
writers and editors need to go so deep that they've alienated three-quarters of the people reading it because, hell, I don't even know those songs, you know?
I know. I feel like I've always thought that sometimes obscurity is abused for the sake of artistry.
I think that's a brilliant quote. Maybe that'll make its way
Yeah.
into a
I
song
mean,
one day.
yeah, maybe so. I mean, it's kind of like, I guess, the no pun intended, like the kiss method. Like I'll be honest, I'm a big '80s hair band fan, but really only the singles. If I'm being honest, like I don't know a lot of the deep cuts. I mean, "Don't Go Away Mad" is probably like the deepest cut I know from Dr. Feelgood on Motley Crue. You know what I mean? So
Uh-huh.
I'm not like I'm not a guru by any means. I just love the hits.
What was your first concert ever?
It was Kenny Chesney in Omen Arena, and I guess it was 2000.
Your first concert was Kenny Chesney, and then years later, you're playing with him on stage.
It's very surreal. I mean, I remember we had really bad seats. We were kind of behind the stage, up in the top row, and we were on the very top row, but we were up high. And I was with my eighth grade girlfriend and my mom. And my dad's a Southern Baptist preacher. He still works, at the church and stuff. And when the lights went down and Kenny came up on that riser, I've never heard either one of my little girlfriend or my mom scream like that. And I was like, damn, that would be a pretty cool thing to do.
So is it a pretty cool thing to do?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, who would ever thought that I would actually get to do it? And
Yeah.
I actually, for end of the tour gift, um, I wrote him a song, and me and my band recorded it on the bus. But it just kind of brings all that surreal stuff in. It was just kind of a thank you. I don't really want the world to hear it, but it was just that's the best thing I could give him.
Well, Brandon Lay, a lot of your music is autobiographical. Let's talk about you. Were just talking about your dad being a preacher. Well, your single Speakers, Bleachers, and Preachers talks about you being in music, and then also the Bleachers part of it is you being a basketball player growing up and thinking that you were going to be a pro, and then your dad's lifestyle. What is it about your life that resonates with people?
Um, you talking of quintessential, Saturday night, Sunday morning. I think that sums up so many people. Faith is a big part of my life, and to be honest, I've kind of had to circle back because when you're a black sheep, you run away from everything you're taught, and um, I think that's kind of what you just got to do. Some do. I mean, my two older sisters didn't, but I did. So I think that let me, you know, meet and engage with a whole another side of life that if I was just always walking the straight and narrow, I would have never experienced. So I think the ends of the spectrum has served me well as far as songwriting goes.
Talking to Brandon Lay. You can see Brandon this coming up Friday evening on Outdoor Channel live stream. It's the final performance in the series, and are you looking forward to it?
I'm very excited. I watched the old YouTube videos of Kenny's shows and Nick, doing his thing in leather tight pants. It's like so rock star. So I'm really looking forward to hanging out with them.
You are a songwriter first and foremost, and COVID 19 has caused songwriting to kind of become more of an isolation activity. But you say you can write anywhere. I've talked to a lot of performers who say, you know what, I have to have that group setting. So, how has this changed the way that you're able to create?
I've done the Zoom thing a few times. It is tough, Like we kind of step on each other when there's three or four writers. It was good for me and my producer Mikey and Red Akins because we had already had a song started. So really, we all only needed a second verse and a bridge. So that kind of went a little easier. But starting from scratch, like with different writers that you maybe don't even know or haven't seen in a while, they're in the room. Even it gets a little awkward when you're first tossing out ideas. And I think being through technology virtually just kind of magnifies that. So I'm not a big fan of it. I'll be honest. I like writing alone. A lot of people don't. I, it's not because I feel like I'm a superior songwriter. It's just there are some things I feel like if you're an artist that you don't need help saying, and some things you do. So I kind of pick my battles as far as that goes. And I'll be glad to get back in the studio because I'm very sound inspired, like with a synth pad or a drum beat. If something if the identity of the song creates a certain mood, I feel like that's when the words and the pictures come to my head. So a lot of people like to write in those rooms with just a guitar and a laptop, and man, I did that for 7 years. I've been with Warren Chapel since 13, and they've set me up with everybody in town, and I've done that setting 600 times, and I definitely like writing in the studio better. So I'm looking forward to getting back where I can go where it's loud.
Well, and also as a guy who's made his chops on the road, you got to be jonesing to get out there, right? I mean, I know you've got the family
Oh,
life,
I
but
am. Yeah, I am. I mean, we got a lot going on here at the house, obviously, with my wife, due any day. And we're also building. We bought 50 acres and our dreamland, Kevin, and our dream house. And, I haven't had a big hit or anything yet. So, I mean, we're swinging for the fence to get this thing done. And here comes COVID-19. So, but I know it's thrown a wrench in everybody's world as far as that goes. But there's always work for me. I say that to say I've been working on that house a lot and my property a lot. So I have not had the cabin fever that other people have had, fortunately. But as far as touring, heck yeah, I miss it. But we were right in the middle of the Fired Up tour with Brantley Gilbert, and I think we were kind of like halfway, and we were going to close the tour out at Red Rock. So that was a bucket list thing that I don't know if it'll happen now, but when the songs come to the people, that's what I get up in the morning for. I am a road dog, and as much as I love my family, I love that, and my wife knows that. So and I honestly think a lot of that comes from my dad. He he really wasn't home that much growing up. He was always making visits, or he was doing funerals or weddings or at the hospital or working overtime. What honestly was not around much, and I just saw his heart for people, and I think some of that comes through when I see people that know my stuff. I want to hang out with them afterwards, So that's kind of what I feed off of.
So when you're on stage and I want to get the quote right. That's my goal for listeners to know that every line I'm singing, I've lived, and for them to find their own story in my songs. So it must be really, really special when people start singing your songs back to you.
Yeah, that's the best. Yeah, I think any artist would agree. That just gives you some validation. It's such a work every day and don't really. It's kind of like watching a tree grow, I guess, a music career. And you're staring at it every day. So yeah, I think if we're being honest, I run on compliments and validation just like anybody else, and that definitely makes me feel good when people know my stuff.
All right, Brandon Lay, I'm going to throw a curveball at you right here because you said that's the best. I want you to put yourself in your front room. The phone rings, okay? It's Vince Gill on the other line, and he is asking you to go to Red Rocks in Denver and sing Seven Bridges Road with him and the Eagles. What do you?
Man, you struck up a good dream.
What's your reaction to that?
I mean, yes, yes. I mean, I couldn't get on a plane fast enough. I really, really enjoy singing harmony. So, um, I would absolutely love that. We did a
Probably.
show in San Antonio with Larry Stewart of Restless Heart, and so we were kind of his backing band for this. We were right on the river boardwalk thing, and got to sing the Bluest Eyes in Texas, and When She Cries, and like singing harmony with Larry. Like that was so much fun. So gosh, if Vince Gill called me to do anything, if he wanted me to dig a ditch in his backyard, I'd be there.
Well, I think you said in one of your locker room episodes that seeing the Eagles at Red Rocks would be the ultimate dream show. And knowing that your
Yeah.
propensity for Seven Bridges Road, I thought, well, you know what? I'll just throw that question out there. You credit your wife with teaching you how to harmonize, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, she did. I didn't know really anything technically about. I mean, because my music, I did take some vocal classes in college as well as guitar. So it's very classically oriented. But to be honest, I mean, my warm up was a shot of Fireball. It was I cut my teeth in honky tonks, and she would make me nervous when we first started dating because she knew, you know, um, how to sing better. She just did, and I really wanted harmony, and she taught me.
So the fact that she was Miss Tennessee didn't make you nervous. It was her singing ability.
Well, I got grandfathered into that, Kevin. I wouldn't be able to pull that if I had met her after she won. Not a chance.
Yeah, you were introduced by a mutual friend, if right?
We were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was playing an intermission for a pageant, and I got paid $75, and I thought beer money, and was going to go to the club right after that, which I did, but I met her there, and we've talked every day since.
Brandon Lay is my guest on the Fuzzy Mic. You can see Brandon this coming up Friday evening Outdoor Channel live stream. We talked about it a couple of times, but I want to go through each episode of the 5 episodes of Locker Room Talk. I've got questions about each one. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, episode 1. You said you like the bunks on the tour bus. I've been on a bunk tour bus before, and every time I wake up, I hit my head. How do you not?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I stay low. It's like limbo, I guess. But I absolutely love my cocoon on the bus.
Question number 2 from episode 1 you skipped. Do you remember that question, and why did you skip it?
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
You do remember that. You're just never going to let anybody know.
Yeah, yeah. That's my tour manager Daniel. He gets out there.
Episode number 2 started with a question. Who do you think you are? You said, I'm a D-list country singer.
Yeah, yeah. I
Take,
stand by that.
take me through the levels. What will it take for you to get to C, B, and A?
C, a top 20. B, a top 10. A number one.
Will that be the moment that you think you have made it or that you say you have made it when you get a number 1?
Yeah, I think so.
Have you had a moment right now prior to that you know what, hey, I'm on the right track?
The Grand Ole Opry is the closest thing. Yeah.
Hmm.
Like I said, that's I have a lot of reverence for the genre and the history. So that was validating. Yeah, that felt good, especially with I had it was right after Ryder was born, literally hours after, and
Yeah.
just having all my family in town. I actually had my old basketball coach was there. My Spanish teacher from high school bought tickets and was there. Like all my friends, like so it was that was very special.
I bet
That
it
was
was.
that was like, hey, I mean, maybe, yeah, maybe this is starting to come together as a country music thing.
Okay, so after episode 2 of Locker Room Talk, which hashtag Locker Room Talk is where you can go and look at all this stuff on top of going to Brandon Lay's website and YouTube channel, we got into some massive production elements on episode number 3 where it wasn't backstage anymore. You did you got the fake locker there with, I guess it's Pamela Anderson from her Baywatch days.
Oh yeah, that's CJ all the way.
Was that your girl prior to Nicole?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess some guys had Carmen Electra on their wall, but yeah, that that was it for me. It's funny. My dad loved a preacher, but I remember it came on Saturday nights. I think back in the early '90s, and we didn't miss an episode, so it's kind of funny.
You were asked questions twice about being stranded on a deserted island. Both times you said a lighter and a hatchet, which are very knowledgeable choices. So I'm wondering, do you watch a lot of Survivor shows? Are you familiar with Naked and Afraid?
Yes, I am. I don't watch a lot of Survivor shows, but um, yes, Nicole and I got into Naked and Afraid for I don't know. We probably watched 10 episodes. I like that.
What is your survival rating?
I honestly, um, I've got asthma. I don't think it's still a problem, but I did as a kid. Um, and I really break out. To be honest, I got a shot the other day for I was cutting down some trees in the woods and I had my Dickies work shorts on, but I had shorts on. So, I mean, poison oak just jumps on me. So I had to go get a
Oh,
steroid shot. And I took prednisone. I already took all my prednisone. I've been putting on calamine lotion. This is probably TMI, but I say that to say probably only a 6. I mean, athletically and physically, I feel like I could do good, but I don't know, man. That poison oak loves to eat me up.
that's horrible, man. I get poison ivy, and that's just it sucks. It's so
Yeah.
bad. All right, I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume that you have seen this movie and you know who I'm talking about. But I am completely blown away by your knowledge about cars. So, who wins in a car trivia contest? You or Mona Lisa Vito, Marissa Tomei, and my cousin Vinny?
I think I would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your knowledge is unbelievable, bro.
Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about new cars, so maybe not. Like I get my own little world, and small block Ford, big block Ford. Maybe small block Chevy. I'm that guy. I'm like that. Um, I'm like that gold Olympic redneck. Like I can tune a carburetor. Like I think if COVID-19 did anything for me, I could win the redneck Olympics right now.
well, that leads me into my next question because I heard this question and I'm like, there's got to be a story behind it. Why do you always carry jumper cables?
Everybody gives me a hard time about my rides, and I've got this '89 Fox Body Mustang. It's a 4-cylinder car, original wheels. It's ugly. I'm not gonna lie. It's a beater kind of, but it's a notchback, and those are kind of sought after. And it's a factory black, and I've got a motor out of a '98 Cobra that I'm gonna take apart, rebuild, and I'm gonna put a turbo on it. So I've got real big plans. But in the meantime, it's just my get around beater day to day because it gets good fuel mileage. Because right now it's just got that little 4-cylinder motor. We were walking out of a CMA remote section where all the artists go around in the different booths and do, what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And we were with a bunch of people from my label, Universal, and including Luke Bryan. And I don't know why these valet guys decided to park my Fox Body right in front of the front door. So as soon as we came out, Trudy, Southeast region, I mean, they all just started laughing at it, making fun of me. And I was like, y'all just wait. This thing gets me from A to B. And the battery was completely dead. And Luke Bryan was like, "You gonna be all right, man?" And of course, he got off in his big black Chevy truck and drove off. And it was really embarrassing because what happened was those cars, the key switch, I don't know why it's a safety thing, but you have to push a button under the steering column to turn the switch off. And it's just I guess it's something they did in the '80s, and that's just the way it is. and it's not broke, but the guy just didn't know, and he left the key on, and the battery was dead right in front of Luke Bryan and all the UMG people. So it's pretty embarrassing. Trudy, she's always quick on her feet. She was like, "See, Luke, that's why he used to be on tour with you. You can't even afford a damn car."
Well, maybe in 2021, right?
Yeah, there you go. So who knows? Maybe that breakdown planted a seed.
Perhaps. Well, you had another breakdown before with a date that you went on. I know that, and the dad actually had to come out and jump you, and that you got
Yeah,
the girl though.
yeah. We ended up going to Outback, and it was a beautiful thing. But I was already nervous, and I probably had sprayed way too much Abercrombie Fierce cologne on. So I had my game on, and as a '92 F-150, it had 207,000 miles on it. It was two tone, silver and gray. Had a 3-inch body lift, KC lights on the front, and like I just had to have it. Loved it. Had straight pipes. The ignition coil was going out, and make a long story short, it wouldn't start. And her dad came out there, and I had to borrow a can of gas and pour down the throttle body, and it started, smoked everywhere, and you know, girl sitting in there just waiting, like, when we're going to go. And make a long story short, we got it going, and yeah, everything was all good after that. But as a first date, I don't know, that kind of throws you off.
Your life is hilarious. It just
I
is,
do
man.
some. I don't. I'm ADD, like I told you before. So I I have a lot of interest. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none kind of guy. So there's a lot that keeps me content.
One of the interests that you have is documentary films. I know you said Ken Burns' Vietnam is probably your favorite. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen Man on Wire?
No, I haven't. What does it
Oh,
have?
buddy. Man on Wire, it's about Philippe Petit, the wire walker, who, before the Twin Towers were actually finished, he stretched a wire across incognito and walked across it 11 times. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that sounds like something I could yeah, get lost in.
Man, it's like 88 minutes long. It's brilliant. It won the Academy Award for Best Documentary that year. It is
Is it
incredible.
where can I find that, Kevin? Is it on Netflix or?
It might be. I actually bought the DVD. So, but yeah,
Okay,
just look
gotcha.
for Man on
Man
Wire.
on Wire.
Yeah, and
I'll look that up.
it's really cool. In episode 5, you said you would like to be Little E for a week. Why is that?
I like to it'd be fun to go fast. I always wondered what that actually felt like. With those motors wound out to 9,500 RPM and go almost 200 miles an hour. It would just be fun. I don't know if I would ever be good at it, but I would. I sure like to try.
As a car guy, how fast have you gone?
Not really anything crazy. In high school, I had a Ford Lightning truck, and it was souped up. Um, Gosh, I want to say 135. A lot of these vets, I mean, in Porsches, they can set their cruise almost on that. So nothing too crazy. I'm not really a top speed guy. I'm more of a drag race guy. See what you can do in the eighth or the quarter. So
You did a great cover of Walkaway Joe. Has Trisha heard that?
yeah, I've heard that she's heard it and liked it. So that's pretty cool. Like for her to sing on it, but maybe there'll be an opportunity down the road.
Why did you choose that song to cover?
Honestly, just because I love that song, and I was looking for a female song to do.
Hmm.
When they threw out a couple of ideas um, for me to cover, it really honestly would have just felt like karaoke. It was just too on the nose of what you think I would do. So um, not to be to abuse obscurity, but I wanted to look through what I loved from the females that dominated times in the '90s, and that's Don Henley. I think it's just it's weird how my influences are intertwined.
Brandon Lay is our guest. You can see Brandon Outdoor Channel live stream. Also, go check out Brandon's website because you will be able to see his latest single, For My Money. It's a brilliant song. It's a great video. A lot of fun in that video. You also like Brown Eyed Girl, and you also like The Black Crows were two of the songs that kind of got you into performing. Why The Black Crows? I mean, I love them, but you don't often hear people doing covers of them.
I don't know. They're kind of. I guess I was in college at the time, and we're kind of jamming on stuff like that. So there wasn't really much thought put into it. The first night I played Brown Eyed Girl, Keep Your Hands to Yourself, and Fat Bottom Girls. So I think an Eric Church song. I think Love Your Love the Most was out as his new single, and I think I played that. And I was hooked into one of those combo amps that you play and sing out of both. So you can imagine and plus me being so nervous for the 8 people that were in the river bar. It was a great night though. I was on a high for a couple of days after that, just because I had never performed in front of anybody, and I felt like I had that first one under my belt, and it just grew from there. We kept going back every Tuesday night for open mics, and then pretty soon they just started booking me, and then I put a band together and kind of branched out from the Tennessee River Bar area to back to Jackson, and then southeast, and just went from there.
No matter how successful you get, and you were talking about opening for Kenny at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, 30 plus thousand people, you'll never forget those days, will you?
Oh gosh, no, no. I mean, those were sounds bad, but I would. Gosh, it's just funny how nervous I would get for looking back on it, like what it was like. Somebody hired me to play in their yard, and it'd be like I'd have to drink 8 natty lights to get the courage to sing. It's just it's been a ride. It's but all that really, really, really. I think that's why I like my cocoon bunk on the bus so much, because I've always wanted a bus, and we've traveled around the country and my truck, and then bought an old motorhome off Craigslist, and it was a diesel pusher, so it ran pretty good, but it was falling apart, had duct tape on the side, and we'd sleep 7 guys in there, and so we did that a lot, and it just makes you appreciate somebody driving for you.
And all seven guys survived? You guys didn't kill each other?
No, no, I mean,
Man,
I've
that's a
been
family right there, bro.
yeah, I've been, I've probably played with 100 different people. I mean, that's how much it's changed through the years.
Hmm.
Um, my drummer stayed the same, but everybody else it's you know my I was never on tour, so there's nothing regular. It was always so sporadic, and I was in the middle of trying to write too, so it was hard to like, hey, I'm gonna put this guy on payroll, because I didn't know when the next frat party was going to be that we were going to play at. So that meant a lot of overturn as far as musicians go. But I've really lucked out, because I've really had a lot of killer players that have come and gone. So I've learned a lot from them.
I would imagine there is a considerable amount of weed out time in the music industry. Weed out, I mean, by when you go to college and you got those weed out courses where you really
Yeah,
determine if you want to continue with this or not.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They're. I got better at hiring people, if that makes sense. I had to fire a lot of people, and that's the worst part
Sure.
about anything that I've done. But I started saving myself some trouble by, um, I don't know, being a little more, I guess, just upfront and a little more um, honest about, not that I was deceiving anybody, but I was like, I wanted to be everybody's friend. I wanted them to come in and just be one of the guys, and some guys, yeah, they would, if they did that, they'd slack off. So there's definitely a lot of overturn, but I've got a really good group now, so I'm glad about that.
So, how much does it weigh on you that you are in industry, that you are responsible for other people's work life?
Um, it it does. I think my guys are understanding, like, of where I'm at, and I've really been upfront with them. But luckily, we got a grant for a small business loan, so I'm I'm keep not as much, but I'm keeping everybody afloat now. And so that, I mean, me and my wife, that is a huge priority for us, because um, we go all in on these people, and I believe in them because they believe in me. So my success is their success. So I understand what mouths they're trying to feed. So it weighs a lot on me.
So that's got to be pretty nerve wracking. What is more, I guess, exciting or nerve wracking? This statement, Brandon Lay, we are going to sign you to Warner Chapel, or, hey, honey, we're pregnant.
Oh man, woo! You know, I'll tell you this. Probably this is going to throw people for a loop, but probably getting that publishing deal offer was a more instant reaction. To be honest, it took me days to digest. That we were going to have a baby. And I'll tell you, when I get excited is, um, like right before I got on the phone with you, when me and Ryder were both wearing overalls with a black shirt under it, and playing wrestling with him in the floor on a random Thursday. That's what I get excited about. And I'm weird like that, Kevin. And like my wedding, I did not enjoy my wedding. There were so many people there, and it was the most beautiful thing. But I could not wait for it to be over because what I get excited about is waking up by Nicole on a Sunday morning. The most random things are what I live for. It's not sometimes the moment. I feel like there's no way it can do it justice, so I don't even try with the moment and let it play out. So that's just kind of how I roll.
So how difficult will it be when touring starts up again that you have to leave Nicole Ryder and your newborn that's going to be here any moment?
Oh, it'll be tough, but it's part of what I signed up for.
Yeah.
So it's a great problem to have because I love to work and I love to get on the road. I love to make music. So um, although that separation is hard, um, I'm happy that I have the opportunity to do it. Because I'll be honest. I mean, God's had to open a lot of doors, a lot of miracles for me to even be sitting here talking to you. Like this is what I wanted to do for a long time, and there are superior vocalists and yada yada yada, no pun intended. But for me to be in the position, I want to take advantage of it. So that's a price to pay, no doubt, but it's worth it.
Well, you make great music, Brandon Lay, and we can't wait to watch you on Outdoor Channel live stream this coming up Friday. We hope that the COVID-19 stuff goes away real soon so that you guys can get back out on the road and tour. When you come to Houston, I want to have a Fireball shot and a Bud Light with you.
Yeah, I've slowed down on my drinking. I've had to. I've had to reel that back in, but I might make an exception for you, man.
Nope. Then we can have an iced tea as well. I just whatever your preference
I've
is.
been chugging. I've been chugging Cokes. I feel like I have to do something bad for me, so that's kind of taking the place. It's like I got to do something bad, so I've been chugging Cokes. It's really weird.
Well, okay, so getting back to locker room talk. I mean, the first couple episodes were a minute and a half. Now you're up to 6.5, 7 minutes, and you've gone through 2 Cokes in one episode. So yeah, okay, I can have a Coke with you. That's cool. That's cool.
All right, yeah, sounds
Buddy,
good.
awesome. Well, this has been a great chat, man. I knew it was going to be fun because just doing my research on you, you're that kind of guy, man. You're that kind of really cool, down to earth, and somebody that I hope some more success comes your way.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure, Brandon. Give my best to Ryder, Nicole, and the baby girl on her way. Do you have a name?
Yeah, Lara June.
Well, give Lara June a big hug and
Yeah,
a
so
kiss
I'm
for
hoping
us.
Nicole will do. I'm hoping she's born in June like she's supposed to, but she might be in May, so we'll see.
Either way, you're
But
going
we're
to
not
get that.
changing her name.
No, I wouldn't change it. It's a beautiful name, buddy. Either way, you're going to get that 2020 tax write-off, though.
There you go. Hey, there's a silver lining.
Always is. Brandon, thank you so much, buddy. You take care, okay?
All right, thank you, man.
That's Brandon Lay. I cannot stress enough. Go check out For My Money. It's a great song, excellent video. I think you're really going to like it. And don't forget to check out Brandon's show, Outdoor Channel live stream, this coming up Friday, the 29th. My thanks to Brandon for joining us on the Fuzzy Mic. My thanks also to Chris Fabiani with Universal Music Group. Also to my good buddy, John Trepane, for helping book that interview with Brandon. Thank you to Brandon's manager, Kyle Quigley, for helping facilitate that as well. My name is Kevin Klein. I'm your host. Thanks for listening to The Fuzzy Mic.
That's it for The Fuzzy Mic. Thank you. The Fuzzy Mic with Kevin Klein. Executive producer Trish Klein. Social media director Lisa Titan. Mouth noises by Zach Sheesh at the Radio Farm. Get your Fuzz fix online anytime at thefuzzymic.com. Everywhere with the iHeartRadio app and in this pocket. Wow, that is a lot of fuzz. Thanks for listening to The Fuzzy Mic.